this is gonna be like 20 minutes of just sighing into the fucking microphone. Hello, 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 my lovelies, and welcome to another Cozy Book Nook. Last week we had Stalking Jack the Ripper. It was an easy book, finished it in 2 days. Let's do the basic plot summary. So, Victorian times, Jack the Ripper times specifically, we're following the main character, Audrey Rose. She is not your average Victorian girl. She studies forensic science. She studies forensic science under the guiding hand of her uncle. Audrey Rose, she's the main character. Then there's Uncle Jonathan, who's basically the medical examiner for Scotland Yard, or one of them. There's Nathaniel Wadsworth, who is Audrey's brother. He doesn't really know what he wants to do in life. He's learning to become a lawyer right now. He took doctor classes. He jumps around, even though he doesn't need to work. He likes to keep busy. There's Daddy Wadsworth. Wait, Wadsworth? Yeah, Wadsworth. There's Daddy Wadsworth. He's a germaphobe. He's an opium addict. He's basically an overbearing father that's borderline abusive. And then there's Mommy Wadsworth, and she's not in the picture because she died of scarlet fever several years ago. Okay. So that's... Oh, then there's also Superintendent Blackburn, who's superintendent at Scotland Yard. Daddy Wadsworth doesn't like the fact that Audrey Rose has an interest in this. It's not right. It's not civil. Blah, 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 blah. She goes behind his back with the help of her brother while she's learning with her uncle the Jack the Ripper murders start. And she basically helps perform the autopsies and starts getting into the investigation, which, first off, that really shouldn't be happening, because, like, you're supposed to be a medical examiner, not a detective. But whatever. These murders happen, they get more gruesome each time. Like, frickin' town is panicking. Her uncle, because of his odd tendencies to mess with dead bodies, is then arrested under suspicion of being Jack the Ripper and thrown into an asylum. During all this, she meets the boy named Thomas Cresswell. And then it only goes downhill from there. When the Jack the Ripper cases pop up and all case pops up. Yeah, cases. Because there's more than one victim. Okay. Her uncle, Thomas, who is also studying under uncle, and herself start playing detective and trying to figure shit out. The uncle ends up stealing evidence from the crime scene, which is then used to put him into the asylum. So while Uncle's in the asylum, Thomas and Audrey, they work together on trying to get Uncle out and figuring out who Jack the Ripper is, and while they're looking around, looking for clues, Audrey finds some clues that makes her start suspecting her own father of being Jack the Ripper. So they start following him around, and they end up following the father. They see him with a woman who then later becomes a victim. So in Audrey Rose's mind, she's like, yeah, he's the killer, blah, 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 blah. She ends up going to confront her father in his office, And then she discovers a secret door that leads to the basement. And in the basement, hang on, I can't yell because I'm upsetting my mic. I can see it from here. Okay. So in the basement, she discovers, like, Frankenstein's lab. And her brother ends up coming down and finding her in there, and he explains he's Jack the Ripper, and he was the one killing all the women so he could collect parts so he can bring back the dead mummy. And it just it led into a final confrontation in the basement between Audrey and Thomas and Nathaniel and Daddy and even Mommy, because her dead body was there too. And Nathaniel ends up fucking electrocuting himself and killing himself, basically. That's plot summary. As you can probably tell, I wasn't 100% liking this book at all. Don't get me wrong. This is a very good book for a first published piece. But I feel like it would have been... I feel like I shouldn't have found it in book form. I should have found it on a frickin' Jack the Ripper or Frankenstein forum as a crossover fanfic. It was good for a first piece, but she fell into some of the traps. There were two main things I didn't like. She wrote her heroine into a corner that needed an outside source to help pull her out in order to progress the story, and she fell into the cliche hole with the character development. Like, Thomas Cresswell, he was a Sherlock ripoff if I ever saw one. And he wasn't even as likable as Sherlock. And Audrey Rose, she fell into that I'm not like other girls cliche. And that actually made me very sad. And with Audrey, for someone who values and prides her intellect, she was pretty fucking dumb. She twisted facts to suit her theories instead of using the facts to develop theories, which is like one rule against for science is like theory last. Use the clues to make the theory, not use the clues to prove the theory. Another thing she kind of fell into the trap of is she was telling more than showing. I'm a firm believer in the show, don't tell. Don't tell me about the moonlight shining throughout the night. Show me it glinting off the shards of glass on the street. Type of stuff. She basically was telling me how her brother Nathaniel was such a good guy, such a good guy, such a good guy, such a good guy, and just repeating that, and that actually raised my suspicions, and I totally 100% guessed what was going to happen. And I hate it when someone's writing does that. They just basically tell you instead of doing the nice foreshadowing, so when you go back and read it, you can be like, ha ha, I got that, ha, smart. No, she basically was like, he's such a good guy, he's such a good guy, he's such a good guy, and I was like, it's him. And then I felt bad, because, like, Superintendent Blackburn, he could have been an awesome character, but first off, she made everybody distrust him, so they kicked him out of the, she basically wrote him out of the inner circle, made him completely useless, and after a certain point, he basically doesn't show up unless it's absolutely necessary for the plot. Oh, and the writing... Oh, I didn't do the clap. Remember 15 minutes in. Oh, and the writing herself into a corner thing. Audrey Rose basically wasn't discovering anything. So the author literally had to write a psychic into the story to basically tell her where to go. And that aggravated me immensely. Don't get me wrong. She's new at it. She tried her damnedest. She gets a lot further than most writers do by actually getting it published and getting over her fears and getting it out there and getting it published. And it was pretty good for a first piece. I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of this from this author, because she does have creative ideas. There was also one little piece that annoyed me, and it was more of a grammar thing. And it was, she wrote that the heroine, Audrey Rose, sneaked into something, or sneaked out of the house. Like, I know sneaked used to be the past tense of sneak up until like 1850, and I don't know if she was doing it on purpose to like get into the Victorian era feel of things, but it just grated my nerves so much because I'm a snuck kind of person. She snuck out of the house. She snuck into this. She snuck past this. She sneaked. It feels wrong to me. And the first time I was willing to let it go, but then it showed up like 5 more times and I just cringed. So that like hit my cringe factor. And she could easily become an even better writer. Like, I can see the potential there. She just needs to make sure she doesn't fall into those traps. The whole cliche character developments, the writing your heroine or hero into a corner, or it's an okay book. But she still has a lot of growing. Listen, I want to be nice to this. I want to be nice to her. But I've met fanfic writers who have a better handle on this than she does in this book. And I know that sounds mean, and I know that sounds terrible, but listen, I can easily see her getting 100% better. She just needs to apply tools of the trade. Like, I really do look forward to more from this author. On the scale, I'm going to give this we're going to keep in mind that it is her first book. Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. I don't want to tear her apart because it is her first book, but I don't want to tear her apart because it is her first book, and she did have the courage to get out there and get it published, and she worked super hard on this, and I don't want to tear her apart for this. But like I've said, I've met fanfic writers who have a better handle on this. And she does have creative ideas, but she does... Why'd I have to add the stupid scoring system? I'm gonna give her a 4 out of 10. Because it is her first book, and she is new to this. And she does have a lot to learn. But I do look forward to her. And I do look forward to more. I know she can become a great author. Now that I feel absolutely horrible for tearing this person down, I'm gonna end this video right here. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to see more, and remember guys, stay shiny and keep an eye out for the next video. Ciao! Hey guys! I almost flippin' forgot, again, our next video. This one, random number assigned, and then my mother picked it. I don't know. Okay, so The Spark and the Drive. I hope this isn't too car heavy because I'm not a car person. It's by Wayne Harrison. 275 pages, 40 chapters. My significant other bought it at a used bookstore. They came home with it and they're like, here, want you to read this. Why don't you read this? And I'm like, oh, great. Yay. No kidding. I was like, I'm always happy to receive books. Justin Bailey is 17 when he arrives at the shop of legendary muscle car mechanic Nick Campbell. Anguished and out of place among the students at his rural Connecticut high school, Justin finds in Nick his captivating wife, Marianne, and their world of miraculous machines the sense of family he has struggled to find at home. But when Nick and Marianne's lives are struck by tragedy, Justin's own world is upended. Suddenly Nick, once celebrated for his mechanical genius, has lost his touch. Marianne, once tender and compassionate to her husband, has turned distant. As Justin tries to support his suffering mentor, he finds himself drawn towards the man's grieving wife. Oh, don't even go there. Torn apart by feelings of betrayal, Justin must choose between the man he admires more than his own father and the woman he yearns for. Oh, you dumb little fuck. A poignant and fiercely original debut. Oh, great, another debut. With moments of fast-paced suspense, Wayne Harrison's The Spark and the Drive is an unforgettable story of a young man forced to make an impossible decision, no matter the consequences. Boy, don't do it. But anyways, yeah, this is going to be next week's. It's The Spark and the Drive. Alright, now we're done.